That wraps up our tour with the Champions Trophy as far as the men in green go. And I think a lot of questions would be raised at this point, but of course, that is something that is said at most points. It was very much expected. I know some of us fans, and I'm very sure about this, were sitting on the hope that there might be an opportunity for Bangladesh to be able to put forth a surprise, especially when early wickets fell for New Zealand. You would have thought to yourself that okay, there was a little bit of ground for saying that okay, maybe things could have gone into the favor for the Bengali Tigers, but not to be at all, and it turned out to be a completely not a dismal performance, to be fair, because I think Bangladesh did try putting on a fight as far as when it came to defending this particular total was concerned. It was very interesting to see how the pitch played out this time around, because the way it played out has raised as to how capable such a pitch can be, and it might be always a good idea to bowl first on such a pitch, or let alone try to just constrain the opposing team that is going to be putting on a total with a certain amount of runs and just being able to chase them down in quick succession. New Zealand are a team who have over time, and if you look into history, quite honestly, have delivered clinical performances against weaker teams. Let alone to say weak. I don't know if that's actually the right phrase maybe to use, because with all due respect, Bangladesh are a fantastic team. They have played so well over the course of history. You go back to some previous performances in the last Champions Trophy, Bangladesh were able to defeat New Zealand. They have played some important victories, but based on current form, Bangladesh weren't at their strongest level at this point as a side. So the way the Kiwis played, it just reminds you of some of the performances that the Kiwis pulled off in the 2019 World Cup, later on as well in the 2023 and so on. They are that kind of a team that is able to go up against the more minor teams in such a way that they're able to really fight back. So just to get those victories and clean up those teams nicely. And then you might raise questions to the recent debacle that took place against Afghanistan last year. But even if we turn our clocks back and we go back to that particular innings or that particular performance, things did not look so well, because I think the ball was very much turning on the for the Afghans on those west tracks in the West Indies. So, I mean, overall, I think New Zealand were very much favorites to win this match for the way when the score was put on. It's a team that doesn't rest on unpredictability. That sort of mercurial intent only sits with one particular team. So the way New Zealand have played, the way Michael Bracewell put on a complete performance with the ball, it was fantastic because he was able to really constrain things. Rachin Ravindra making an important contribution today, really playing extremely well. Everything came to the forefront as far as New Zealand were concerned. It was a complete show because Tom Latham is continuing on good form. It was not the easiest 50 runs to come off for Tom Latham, but the way the whole momentum of the innings progressed, it always felt like New Zealand were in control. After the initial 2 wickets fell, you did give Bangladesh a little bit of an opportunity to break through, but having only about 236 runs on the board, especially considering the start that the Tigers had, you would think to yourself that okay, there is not much that can go really wrong for New Zealand from here as far as that chase goes. The main question or the main hope that completely disappeared as a result of this match was the desire for Pakistan to make it to the semi-finals. But in all honesty, as genuine die-hard fans of this game go within this country, we all did not actually feel or believe that we were deserving of the opportunity to go into the semi-finals at this stage. And I think we've all talked about that, and it's understandable because we haven't played the best of cricket. You want to be able to make it at that stage by holding on to your own ability, and owning your own skills and showcasing that performance to be able to push yourself through towards these knockout stages. One would hope that making it to the semifinals would have been something that kind of is expected already of a host nation in an ICC tournament, as recent history has dictated with the way ICC tournaments have gone. Host nations have usually been able to qualify, but not to be, because it was a surprise for everyone, because Pakistan was very much in that top four talked about that was going to progress to the knockout stages. But I think I stated this before as well, that it is very rare that you see Pakistan and India together as the nations qualified into from one stage to the other in ICC tournaments. If you look back, I think so. The last time this happened was in the 2022 T20 World Cup, but that was also based on a very unexpected outcome that occurred in the game between South Africa and South Africa and the Netherlands. So, I mean, there is always this case of hoping that certain results and the ifs and buts come into play. But if Pakistan is going to live on ifs and buts, and I think it was rightfully stated by the captain at that point when Rizwan said that that's not how you would want to ideally qualify as a team. You'd want to be able to qualify on your own merits. So that's a completely different argument uh, in its own, and we'll talk about it in a while. Some people have also been speculating about if the scheduling would have been a bit better, with Pakistan maybe going up against Bangladesh first to be able to build their confidence to go through. But with the way Pakistan has been playing, you would have thought to yourself maybe it might have been unpredictable regarding a match against Bangladesh to start off the ICC Champions Trophy, and what momentum they would have gathered through with that as well. Scheduling is not how it works, that okay, I have to play this match at this point, this match at that point. It's a professional game. You're playing it at the international level. It doesn't matter what the schedule is. It doesn't matter when the match takes place. It doesn't matter which scenario is playing in your head. You need to be able to, just like come together and be able to deliver that performance. There are things that can work in your favor, and there are things that cannot work in your favor. But at the end of the day, you are professionals who are being paid well to be able to go down into the ground and be able to pull off a performance for your home nation, for the nations that have come to see you bat or play and showcase your ability as being representatives of the nation, right? So saying things about what the schedule should have been, what should have been the the I mean, like, just talking about that is honestly, it's an unnecessary discussion. There's no need to have that discussion. There's absolutely no need, because that is not a point to make. That should not shift or deviate away from the amount of blame, or not, I'm not saying blame, but more so the amount of need to critically evaluate, which would be the more appropriate and respectful word to use, to evaluate the nation's entire management, the board. Because you have to put this into your it is into your mind. It's not a poor board. It's not a board that does not have the finances, that does not have the resources to be able to produce quality players. It does have each and every single one of those things. It has a talent pool, it has investments, it has quality salaries being paid to these international cricketers. It is the responsibility of the management, the board, of who is being selected, the selection committee. All of it comes into factoring it through before you really get because into these ICC tournaments. Because look, the ICC tournament is a tournament that is watched by the casual fan. The Pakistan India encounter is watched by the casual fan. So that is where the questions are raised, because the big test as a cricket nation is if you're able to get to that final, if you're able to play well in an ICC tournament, because then you become that nation that people will talk about, or will be the nation that comes to the playing field, because that is your test. That you're working on, not your ranking, not your personal milestones, because those are all great as far as your own confidence goes. But if that does not replicate into producing a contribution for the team, then it's always going to be something that is going to be criticized. So again, a lot needs to be looked into. There were questions raised, and I've repeated this so many times, of the need of the extra spinner. But I believe so that when you have limited resources, and it has been accepted that you need to play with those limited resources in a smart way so that we know that things are working out according to what we can do with what we have. If that is not something that you're doing as well, and you're committing to sticking with your weaknesses as a team even when you have all the right elements in your arsenal, you're just setting up things to be more problematic for yourself, right? And we get that. So I think again a lot needs to be worked into, but I don't know how much of it would take, basically, because these performances becoming very repetitive at this point. I think good points are being made about going back to grassroots level, going back to your domestic platform, and just being able to find that rhythm or that energy or that hunger to be able to like play for your team all over again, because I feel as if that is what's missing. The heart might be in the place that you want your team to win, but is that passion there to be able to say that, okay, I'm going to be determined, I am going to work on my wrongs, I'm going to push myself to do better? Because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for the country, because there's a lot of heart associated with this team, and it's dying. It's just been dying a lot in recent times. It has not been the same, and it's just like a complete scenario that's just going like, just like decrease, like that. It's absolutely just like decreasing over time, the desire to even be able to watch a Pakistan cricket match, because the unpredictability elements are just coming out of a 1 out of an 8 situation now, and that's becoming a little bit troublesome. So there's so much that can be said at this point, but again, we're not here to rely on other teams to be able to find a way into the semifinals. We all watched this match. I'm pretty sure real fans. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure if any fan, right, like who's very diehard into it, would try to still look at what the score statistic is with hope for your own country, because you want to have that hope, right? But not to be. India and New Zealand are very much deserving of making it to the semifinals. There's no question about it. This is very interesting because these are two countries that I believe will be very much also the only countries I think that will be tested a lot at the semi-final stage. Other than that, Afghanistan, I do still believe have a good chance of qualifying. I don't know why, but something tells me that there's going to be one encounter between Australia or with England. I mean, I hope it's, who knows, maybe it's both of them, right? But I feel as if they still have a good chance to make it to the semi-finals. But it's because Afghanistan will always be the wild card in international cricket right now, and an effective wild card over time. They proved it last time that they played. They've got that aggression within them, and if the pitches are able to play, if this ball is able to turn, it will all come together to be able to put them through to the semi-final stage. So I think my prediction right now is, of course, for I'm for Australia to definitely make it to the semifinals. I think the kind of motivation that comes into your mind after being able to play that performance that you did against England is, I'm pretty sure the camp is all over the moon at this point. It honestly doesn't matter how the men in green play, because even when they chase down the 350 plus total, I don't think that has a massive effect on the mood, because unpredictably the performances can go completely the opposite direction. So yeah, I mean, let's see where this goes. But it'll be interesting to see how the knockout stages work in this tournament. If India get an opportunity to go up against Australia, it'll be a very interesting contest. New Zealand going up against South Africa again could, I hope it's, I just believe as if I think New Zealand are slightly a bit of a stronger team than South Africa as well as the knockout stage is concerned. But let's see, you never really know. There could be a chance of Afghanistan coming through, and then New Zealand. I would really like to see a New Zealand Afghanistan semi-final. Personally, I think that would be very interesting. And an India Australia semi-final. I think that would be like the icing on the cake to be able to see these two matches. But let's see where this goes, and we're looking forward to an ICC tournament that unfortunately is not for the men in green, but still amazing teams are playing in this tournament, and I think it's important to encourage cricket regardless. I understand that it's not easy to absorb this into your systems, but with the heavy heart and with the love that this game we have for this game, you'd still want to just come together and be able to support the teams that are playing. So let's see where this goes from here. Bye, guys.